Hey, Australia. Tim Dwyer back again. And look, I'd just like to carry on, if I might, in regards to our continuing history lessons, if I may, being educational. This program is purely an educational program. And so I've been doing a little bit of study, and I just want to read a few bits and pieces to you. You see, I've wondered how come Hitler actually was able to kill as many people as he did before the war. Before the war. All right. Now, one of the things we have to understand, Hitler's health passport was introduced 6 years before the war actually started. And a lot of the ethnic people that he rounded up and killed prior to the war went seemingly voluntarily. You got to ask why. Well, a little bit of digging through some documents and some archives, you can find the reasons why. And how did such a relatively small number of guards, armed only with rifles and some machine guns, encourage thousands of people, thousands and thousands of families, to get into the rail cars and go to the death camps? Like, logically, why, if you knew you were going to the death camp, why wouldn't you, if there's thousands of you and probably a dozen, 2 dozen guards, why wouldn't you storm the guards? They'd run out of bullets pretty quick and the rest would be free. Well, why didn't they fight harder for life, for freedom? Well, what I found was it was pretty simple. You lied to them. The German politicians lied to the people. They told them that they were actually getting on these rail cars to go to work in factories in other towns, in other cities, and that the hospitals would be there, the schools would be there. Keep your family close, don't get separated. And they thought they were going somewhere safe. Their government lied to them. It was a policy of lies that actually got Hitler elected in the first place. And then the continued policy of lies brought him to power, enormous power. Now, the problem we've got here is that history repeats itself over and over and over again. So my question is, was it right that the German politicians would lie to those people? Well, no. My question to you then is, by learning from history, is it okay, in your mind, for politicians here in Australia to lie to us? Well, no. How many people here would believe, not just now, but in the past, that politicians have lied to us all? And should it be by law, they are actually compelled to the truth? See, overwhelmingly, people believe politicians lie. And even the politicians know that themselves, that they lie. And they lie because they want to stay in office. They like the money, they like the kudos, they like the power, they like the authority. The federal government, think about this, the federal government has got approximately 230 members ruling over 26 million people. Now, if we put all the states and that together, there's a total of 457 people telling lies to 26 million people. Why do we put up with this? Why did the German people, who were probably 80 million strong at the time, let the parliament at that time lie to them to that extent? This is a human phenomenon. Oh, this is for your safety. That was the line that Hitler brought in, that what he was doing was for their safety. And an interesting thing is that Hitler got his parliament to grant him emergency powers to bring about laws for people's continued safety. I don't know whether you've heard this before or heard it recently. It's for your safety. You see, for our safety, they tell us to get tested with a PCR test. They tell us to isolate, to quarantine, to wear a mask, to social distance for our safety. And I don't know whether you're up with the news of what's happened to a very eminent supposed doctor in America who has now been, what should I say, neck deep in bat soup. Now, in Victoria and in the Northern Territory and in Queensland, they are now talking about building quarantine centres for your safety. Could this be a lie? Could it not be for our safety? Or would it be for those people who actually have the capacity of thought that dare to go against the government party line? Maybe those quarantine centres are the same sort of centres where the German people found themselves many decades ago. Because we know historically, politicians lie. Inherently, politicians lie. You see, one of the other things we've got to look at here, I guess, is that how do you search for the truth in a web of lies that has engulfed the entire world? Now, I would put it to you this way, that the science is not settled on anything. Politicians are bought and paid for, every single one of them. How can you trust somebody who is a compulsive liar? How do you trust that person? How do you know that what they're saying is the truth? Well, you can't. It cannot be backed up by science. All the science is falling apart around the world today about all this stuff. And so the rhetoric has been ramped up. More lies, the web of lies, the web of lies. Well, the deeper the web of lies, the stronger the truth becomes. And so should we judge politicians or doctors or anybody else by their intentions? You know, I could say to my wife, look, I don't know why you're so angry at me. I intended to buy you flowers. I intended to take you out for dinner. I intended this, I intended that, but I never did any of it. My intentions can be good, but my actions, not so. You know, a couple of years ago, 4 years ago, I stood with Fraser Anning for the Senate. And my whole thing was, listen to what the politicians say, but judge them by what they do. This country's lost its freedom. Our leaders lie every day. They are spending money like madmen. And we are in trouble because of very, very poor and corrupt leadership at both the state and the federal level. And if we are not careful, the war will come sooner rather than later. Ladies and gentlemen, remember there's only a few hundred of them and millions of us. My name's Tim Dwyer. I hope you enjoyed the education for today. Speak to you a little bit later on. Okay, bye for now.